Aristotle, the ancient Greek philosopher whose intellectual legacy spans over 2 millennia, left behind a vast and varied body of work that continues to shape philosophy, science, and the humanities. His surviving texts, collectively known as the Corpus Aristotelicum, reflect a mind obsessed with understanding the world through observation, classification, and causal explanation. From logic to metaphysics, natural philosophy to ethics, and politics to aesthetics, Aristotle's writings, compiled largely from lecture notes at his lyceum, offer a systematic approach to knowledge that is both broad and deep. While many of his works were lost, including polished dialogues akin to Plato's, what remains reveals a thinker who sought to unify human inquiry into a coherent whole, blending the empirical with the theoretical. This grand summary traces the scope and essence of his surviving contributions, weaving together their themes and enduring impact. The Organon, Aristotle's collection of logical treatises, lays the groundwork for reasoning itself. In categories, he classifies predicates into 10 types: substance, quantity, quality, and so forth, establishing substance as the foundation of existence, a concept that echoes through his later Metaphysics on interpretation shifts. Two propositions, exploring how language conveys truth or falsity, introducing the principle of contradiction and pondering future contingents in the famous sea battle problem. Prior analytics then formalizes deductive logic with the syllogism, a three-part argument structure, for example, all men are mortal. Socrates is a man. Socrates is mortal, that became the bedrock of Western logic for centuries. Posterior analytics elevates this to scientific knowledge, arguing that true understanding episteme comes from demonstrations rooted in self-evident principles, grasped through intuition and induction. Topics offers a practical counterpart, cataloging strategies for dialectical debate from common opinions, while sophistical refutations. Exposes fallacies, like equivocation or begging the question, arming readers against deceptive arguments. Together, these works create a toolkit for thought, balancing rigor with real-world application, and their influence persists in modern logic and critical thinking. Beyond logic, Aristotle's Metaphysics tackles the nature of reality itself, famously dubbed the science of being qua being. Across its 14 books, he probes what it means to exist, prioritizing substance, individual things like a horse or a tree, over Plato's separate forms. His four causes, material, formal, efficient, final, explain why things are, culminating in book Lambda's Unmoved Mover, an eternal, unchanging thinker that drives cosmic motion without being moved. This blend of ontology and theology shaped medieval philosophy and remains a touchstone for existential debates. In natural philosophy, physics examines change and motion in the terrestrial world, positing nature as an internal principle of movement, guided by the same for causes. Its teleological view, everything aims at an end, contrasts with modern physics, yet its focus on actuality and potentiality enriches metaphysical discourse. On the Heavens extends this to cosmology, envisioning a finite, geocentric universe with ether as the fifth element of the eternal heavens, a model that held sway until Copernicus. Aristotle's investigation of natural processes continues in On Generation and Corruption, where he explains how the four elements transform through qualities like hot and cold, driven by the sun's cycle, a precursor to chemistry, albeit qualitative. Meteorology broadens this to weather and geological events, attributing rain, winds, and earthquakes to elemental exhalations, showcasing his knack for unifying diverse phenomena under a single framework. Turning to life, On the Soul defines the soul as the first actuality of a living body, integrating form and matter in a hylomorphic unity. Its hierarchy, nutritive indicating plants, sensitive indicating animals, rational indicating humans, and its account of perception and intellect, both active and passive, bridge biology and psychology, influencing thinkers from Aquinas to modern consciousness studies. The Parva Naturalia delves deeper, with treatises like On Sense and Sensibilia detailing sensory mechanics, On Memory and Recollection exploring mental retention, and On Sleep and On Dreams linking bodily states to psychic phenomena, all grounded in natural causes rather than mysticism. Aristotle's zoological works reveal his empirical side. History of Animals catalogs animal traits, parts, habits, reproduction across species, from dolphins to insects, laying groundwork for taxonomy despite errors like spontaneous generation. Parts of Animals asks why these parts exist, arguing teleologically that each serves a purpose, for example, wings for flight, a view that contrasts with Darwin but prefigures functional biology. Movement of Animals and Progression of Animals dissect locomotion, how soul and body collaborate via joints and limbs, offering mechanical insights. Rare in his qualitative science. Generation of Animals, his embryological masterpiece, traces reproduction from semen's formative power to species-specific development, blending observation, for example, chick embryos with a heat-driven theory of life's complexity. Together, these texts showcase Aristotle's hands on curiosity, rooted in dissections and fieldwork, and their influence lingered in natural history until the scientific revolution. In ethics, Aristotle shines as a practical moralist. Nicomachean Ethics, his flagship, posits eudaimonia, flourishing, as the goal, achieved through virtues as means between extremes, for example, courage over cowardice or rashness, guided by practical wisdom, phronesis, its crowning vision of contemplation as the highest life to his ethics. 2. Metaphysics, a duality that inspired virtue ethics revival. Eudemian ethics mirrors this, emphasizing nobility alongside the mean, possibly an earlier draft but equally rich in its focus on friendship and reason. Magna Moralia, though authorship is questioned, condenses these ideas into a simpler virtues-vices list, likely a teaching tool. Politics extends ethics to society, viewing the polis as humans' natural community for the good life. It classifies constitutions, monarchy to democracy, good and corrupt, and advocates a balanced polity, with education shaping virtuous citizens, influencing governance theories from Aquinas to Locke despite its dated hierarchies. Practical concerns continue in economics, dubiously Aristotle's, which praises natural household management over profit-driven trade, with a disjointed section on state revenue tactics. Rhetoric masterfully dissects persuasion, ethos, pathos, logos, across deliberative, forensic, and epideictic speech, a guide still used in communication. Studies. Poetics elevates aesthetics, defining tragedy as mimesis evoking catharsis through pity and fear, its plot-centric rules shaping drama from Sophocles to Shakespeare. Constitution of the Athenians, possibly a Lyceum product, chronicles Athens' democratic evolution and mechanics, council, assembly, courts, offering historians a primary source. Finally, on virtues and vices, likely not Aristotle's, lists moral traits plainly, a shadow of his nuanced ethics but reflective of his school's output. Aristotle's works center around key threads: a teleological universe where everything has a purpose, a hylomorphic fusion of form and matter, and a relentless drive to classify and explain. His method, observe, categorize, reason, spans the abstract to the concrete, balancing the eternal and the perishable. Aristotle's ambition to synthesize knowledge endures. From medieval scholasticism to modern philosophy, science, and literature, the Corpus Aristotelicum remains a monumental edifice, its cracks revealing not flaws but the vastness of a mind that dared to grasp the whole of existence. Thank you for watching. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe button and stay tuned for more content on the philosophy series.